Vikings versus Falcons. Let's talk about it. I want to start with Atlanta's offense. Taylor Heinicke has been named the starting quarterback for Sunday's game. It's interesting how this has come full circle. At one point, Heinicke was a member of the Minnesota Vikings organization. You go back to 2016, Teddy Bridgewater suffering the catastrophic leg injury. And watching Heinicke in the preseason, I was saying to myself, there are some flashes here. I'm very interested to see if he gets an opportunity to get out there on the football field in the regular season. I'm very interested to see what this looks like. And he would have had that chance if not for kicking in a glass panel at his friend's apartment. They were locked out, and I'm guessing he was drunk. There's no other explanation behind this. But Heinicke decided that it would be a good idea to take his foot and kick it through a glass panel to try to get into the apartment, and he suffered a severed tendon. So had he not have done that, maybe the Sam Bradford trade still happens, but I know at the very least, starting the 2016 season, Taylor Heinicke would have been the starting quarterback. But here we are, fast forward to 2023. What I know about Heinicke, his days in Washington, he has guts. He's not afraid. Another thing about him is that as much as he will score, throw touchdown passes, he'll put the ball up for grabs for interceptions. And the Falcons offense, 28th in scoring. What you need to do is look at it from a different lens, not just the Vikings team as a whole, but also Vikings Nation. Look at it through a different lens. Everything that you think you know about Atlanta's offense, throw it out the window. That's how much of an impact that a change at the quarterback position makes. Because Taylor Heinicke, not afraid of the moment whatsoever, he has athletes. All-around athletes as far as offensive weapons. He's got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, who was on, as of Wednesday's injury report, DNP with a groin injury. Kyle Pitts suddenly exists for this team. And Mac Hollins, who looks like a power forward, grabbing rebounds when he catches passes. Do not take this team lightly. In fact, they did lose to the Tennessee Titans last week. Final score of 28-23, but their final possession, 1:33 left. Fourth down, no timeouts remaining. This is it. They were moving the ball, but fourth down, 1:33 left, passed it to a wide open Van Jefferson. Taylor Heinicke did. Right in his hands. No one around him. And it's like he had Crisco on his gloves. Just boop, incomplete. Turnover on downs. Who knows what would have happened if that drive would have continued? You need to do, for the Vikings defense, the primary factor that you have to focus on is damage control versus the run. Now, your last two games against, you just beat the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers, very run-heavy teams. You allowed 74 yards, 65 yards. That's really good. Keep that same energy and that same momentum, because the third game before that against the Chicago Bears, you gave up 162 yards on the ground. Don't revert to that run defense. Stick to what you have been the last two games. Secondly, you need to be able, and I know this is going to sound cliche, but you need to be able to generate pressure. This Falcons offensive line is super suspect. They're fourth in sacks allowed, and you can maybe attribute that, some of that, to Desmond Ridder being indecisive at times, holding on to the football for far too long. But you watch that Falcons-Titans game this past Sunday, and even with Taylor Heinicke starting the second half the rest of the way, it's clear that you can beat this Falcons offensive line. And yes, the Titans, they have Jeffrey Simmons, okay, fine. But my gosh, I'm not even talking about blitzes. You can get after Taylor Heinicke with 3- and 4-man rushes. So I'm looking at Danielle Hunter and DJ Wonnum specifically. Get him off his rhythm. He's confident baseline Taylor Heinicke, but it's one of those things where it's like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Get him off his rhythm. Get him to panic. As long as you can do that, you'll be fine. Otherwise, if you allow Heinicke to just sit back there and throw to these athletes, they can make the Vikings secondary have problems. They can absolutely challenge the safeties and the cornerbacks. So make sure that you can get him out of his rhythm and you should be fine. Going to the Falcons defense, they faced Will Levis on Sunday, the rookie quarterback. They had no film on him whatsoever. So I talked about yesterday how they will also not have film on Jaren Hall. What worked for Will Levis on top of the 4 touchdown passes that he threw was the fact that he had a run game. The Titans, they had 149 yards on the ground. So it was all fun and games, not really, before talking about, hey, Alexander Mattison, he ain't it. You need to start Cam Akers. And still, knowing that information for weeks, KOC was still roll with Alexander Mattison as the RB1. And it's one thing to do that with your veteran quarterback, Kirk Cousins, but you can't afford to make any of those types of mistakes. Easy, correctable mistakes, both in play calling and in personnel, with a rookie quarterback starting his first game. Start Cam Akers. You didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. You didn't sign anybody. What you had last week is what you have this week when it comes to the running back room. And with that, Cam Akers gives you the highest upside to make plays, not just in the run game, but in the passing game as well. You look at their front seven, Atlanta, they don't really do a good job of getting after the quarterback, 26th in sacks generated. So going up against our offensive line, one of the best in the league, I can't believe I'm saying that. I like our chances in that department. But you look at what worked for Will Levis in that game on Sunday against the Falcons, and I'm sure a lot of this had to do with the fact that they did not have film on him. Teams going forward, going up against the Titans, they're going to be better prepared. But just throwing the ball deep, the first touchdown he threw, which should not have counted because that was a blatant offensive pass interference that wasn't called on DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, fine. The second touchdown he threw, also to D-Hop, this was in the red zone. Trips right, bunch formation. Hopkins was on the outside of that bunch. Ball snaps, and a linebacker ends up covering DeAndre Hopkins as he does a drag route on the inside. And that was number 53, Nate Landman. It was a catch and go, easy touchdown. Easy money for D-Hop. The third touchdown he threw, again to DeAndre Hopkins, was a stutter and go route. It turned into a track meet. He burnt his man easily. And then he also threw a deep pass to, I don't know who this receiver was, number 85. It wouldn't have been for a touchdown, but it would have been for at least 20-something yards or more. It was an explosive play, and the man dropped it. But the fourth touchdown that he threw was deep to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. So in that regards, I'm looking at Jordan Addison, the speedster. They have no film on Jaren Hall. I think this is the opportunity to surprise them, especially if the run game is going to be there, play action, get them in bootleg situations, have a man deep, because so far, based off what we saw on Sunday, the opportunities will be there. Be creative. This is a chance for Kevin O'Connell to take away what he's been doing, not everything that he's been doing with Kirk Cousins, but with this unique skill set in Jaren Hall. This is an opportunity for him to get super, super creative. Do not take this team lightly. As I said before, everything you think you know about the Falcons offense, throw it out the window, because now with this new quarterback, anything's possible. But I'm going to say that the Vikings will win this game 27-20. Vikings. Your thoughts in the comment section below. The live stream watch along party will be this Sunday, starting 15 minutes before the game. We'll see you then.